Hello, Jonathan here from Better Music. Today we're going to be having a look at the PSR-E family of keyboards by Yamaha. Enormously popular family of digital keyboards, and for good reason. They're amazing value for money. They're built like tanks. They've got hundreds and hundreds of sounds on board, lots of rhythms to play around with. They're just a lot of fun. That's the kind of main dot point for PSR-E keyboards. They're just designed to take it out of the box, plug it in the wall, and just have lots and lots of fun with them. So yeah, let's dive in and have a look at the various models. So the first keyboard off the rank is this one here, the PSR-E273. This is kind of where it starts in the PSR-E family. It's entry level, but it's still really, really good. Perfect for beginners, people who potentially might be, starting out and they just want something to kind of just, dip their toes in the water a little bit. So on board, you've got 384 different sounds that you can play with. It also has 112 preset songs that you can jam along with, but it also on the back has an input for you to plug in external devices with your favorite music on it, and you can jam along with that as well. How the keyboard is set up is really user-friendly. It's really quick and easy to get to where you need to get to. Voices, they're basically your different sounds that you can play with. That's in blue. So you've got piano, organ sounds, guitar and bass, strings, you've got synth sounds, drums, you've got lots and lots of different sounds to play along with. The songs that you can listen to and jam along with, that's in red. Again, really, really easy to get to. And then style, that's the other kind of big one here in the gold brownie kind of color. Style effectively is like an auto accompaniment feature. So when you play notes with your left hand, it'll provide like a beat and like a bass line and maybe some supporting chords that will support what you're playing with your right hand. If you ever find yourself trapped in a menu and you just want to get back to the basic sound, there's a button actually on here called Portable Grand. You just hit that and away you go. You're back to piano. Also on board, you've got some sound effects, which is new for this model. You've got a couple of different choices on here. Again, it's kind of for fun, good for kids, stuff like that. Lessons are on board. They're pretty basic, but still really handy to have. On the screen here, you've got some, you can see the notes there, and basically you just play along with the notes as they go. This kind of keyboard is perfect for the beginner, perfect for children, and it's a really good place to start. It's really good value for money. The next level up, which we're going to get to, is a big step up because the next model up actually has touch sensitivity. This model, the PSR-E273, it's not touch sensitive. Basically what that means is regardless of how hard or how soft you hit the key, you're always going to get the same volume. So I'll show you what I mean by that. You can really hammer it, or you can be really quiet. It's always going to give you that same volume. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It is a little bit one-dimensional though, I have to say. It is hard to be dynamic and expressive with your playing when it's a non-touch sensitive keyboard. If you are wanting to have lessons and if you want to kind of take your playing that little bit further, you might find it not being touch sensitive a little bit limiting, in which case you'll need to step up to the next model, which is the PSR-E373. So the next model we're going to look at is the next model up from the entry level. It's called the PSR-E373. This is where things start to get a little bit more serious. So on board, it's basically just more of everything. You've got more sounds on board that you can play around with. There's more rhythms on board that you can play around with. The biggest difference between this model and the previous model is that this one is touch sensitive. So it really is a lot nicer to play. It's more three-dimensional. You get that loud and soft, you get that light and shade in your playing, which is really important with keyboard instruments. So also with this model, you're starting to get a little bit more serious in terms of the connections on the keyboard. It's got a USB to host port on the back, which you can use to plug into computers. You can record yourself. You can record yourself into the computer, and you can also use some of the devices that are out there that Yamaha do for recording and file management, things like that. If you plan on having lessons and just taking your playing that little bit further, this is really where you should start. Having that touch sensitivity makes a huge difference, and those extra sounds and extra features, they're really good to have. The next keyboard in the lineup is the PSR-E463. Let's have a look at what it can do. So we finally arrived at the top of the heap. This is the PSR-E463. Yeah, in terms of value for money, this is really tough to beat. There's not really much else on the market that can do what this can do with this much style. It really feels amazing to play. It sounds really good. The speakers that are on board are louder, they're punchier, they've got more bass. You really notice that when you first start playing the keyboard, how much those speakers make a difference. It's also more geared towards live use, I would say, a little bit more as well. So these knobs on the side here, you can allocate these to be various things, like cutoff, reverb, you can change the attack and release of sounds. You can just kind of blend to taste and really create your own kind of sound. The sound that you're going to use most, probably, on these kind of keyboards is the portable grand sound, the piano sound. I can say with certainty, it's really, really nice. It sounds really good. Other kind of keyboards at this price point can be a little bit cringy, and you can really hear the quality of them isn't particularly great. With these ones, the quality is amazing. How they've been able to do it is really impressive. Other things that are on board, you can actually register your favorite sounds, so you can kind of access them really quickly, so you don't have to keep menu diving. You can just get straight to your favorite sounds and away you go. In terms of the sounds that are on board, I think 759 sounds. I don't know if you'll ever get through them all, but they're there for you to play with. The other thing that's amazing about this one is that it's got a 6-track recorder on board, which at this price point is incredible. There's no other product on the market that gets close to that. That's impressive. Groove Creator is another thing. That's a Yamaha kind of specific feature. Also, another thing worth mentioning is it's really got a lot of stage piano kind of features like split. So you can have one sound in your left hand, another sound in your right hand. Dual, you can combine sounds together. There's an arpeggio generator on board, which is really cool for synth stuff. And there's lots of effects that you can play around with as well. Another feature is quick sampling, which is really cool. Basically what it means is you take an external device or an external sound, you plug it into the keyboard, and it actually records that sound that you're putting in like a sampler. And then you trigger those sounds by hitting keys, for example. You do 2 at one time. Again, if you ever get lost in a menu or you don't quite know where you are, you can always just hit the portable grand button and straight away you're back to your favorite piano sound. Another difference between the PSR-E463 and the previous two models that we've looked at is that with the features like Groove Creator that's on board, the recording functionality that's on board, you can tell that the keyboard's been designed for creating music as opposed to just playing music. So we've been looking at the PSR-E family of keyboards by Yamaha. We started with the PSR-E273, which is a really, really good place to start if you're a beginner, if you're a child. It's just built for fun. If you are having lessons, if you want to kind of take your playing a little further, the PSR-E373 is the next model up. It's got that touch sensitivity, it's got more sounds on board, more features, and then the big daddy, which is this guy, the PSR-E463. This is kind of the most advanced out of all of the models. It's designed more for kind of creation and experimentation. It's got the most sounds out of all of the models. And yeah, value for money, really, really difficult to beat. Thanks for watching today. If you've got any questions or comments, leave them below, and we'll see you next time.